Welcome to the Connect Secure Administration and Maintenance e-learning video. In this session, we will review what a resource policy is. Within the Access Management Framework, roles determine which functionality a user is assigned when logging in to Pulse Connect Secure. Resource policies determine which resources a user can access. Whereas roles control what type of resources a user can access, resource policies further control access to specific resources. For example, a role can enable file access, but it cannot control whether a particular file share is accessible. If you do not specify a resource policy to access a particular file share, that file share is unreachable. Unlike roles, which are assigned once at login, Pulse Connect Secure evaluates resource policies each time a user attempts to access a resource. This evaluation allows you to make access changes without requiring users to disconnect and reconnect, provided the user's role is invoking the correct resource policy. Resource policies are tied to roles. When configuring a resource policy, you must specify which roles use the resource policy. If a user tries to access a resource, but the user's assigned role has no corresponding resource policy, Pulse Connect Secure denies the user's access by default. This scenario assumes that the system default allow all access to resources policy is removed. A resource profile takes items that are normally found in a role when setting up a role-based resource and items found under a resource policy and combines them into an object. Resource profiles are beneficial because they allow you to configure multiple components within a single configuration page. Within our configuration example with Pulse Inc., we have configured two roles for Pulse Inc.'s employees, sales and employees. We bookmark the sales servers under the sales role, but we want to further specify that only users assigned the sales role are allowed to access those servers. Remember that even though a server is not bookmarked, users can browse freely over their secure connection. Similarly, we want to restrict any file server access to specified servers only. For example, we do not want employees scanning the network looking for the payroll server to give themselves a raise. Using our Pulse Inc. example, we update our configuration checklist with our resource policies that we are looking to add. Before you define your resource policies, let's take a look at the default access policies. Pulse Connect Secure is pre-configured with resource policies that grant all users web and file browsing access. These default resource policies allow you to access the websites and files that have been configured. As with any wide open access, these policies do not secure any network resources. When writing an explicit resource policy, the first task is to remove this default access policy. Select the checkbox next to the policy, then click Delete. This concludes this Connect Secure Administration and Maintenance e-learning video. Please proceed to the next video in this series. For any questions, contact education@pulsesecure.net.